Hi everyone, welcome to Here to Speak, your place to learn English with simple and fun stories. Today we have a beautiful love story from Lisbon. Let's get started and enjoy learning together. Letters from Lisbon. Chapter 1. A New Beginning. Emily sat on the plane, her hands holding a small notebook. She looked out the window. The sun was rising over the clouds. "I still can't believe I'm doing this," she whispered. Emily was 27, from Toronto, Canada. She had worked in an office for 5 years. Every day felt the same. Wake up, go to work, answer emails, come home, sleep, repeat. Last month she finally said, "Enough." She booked a one-way ticket to Lisbon, Portugal. She didn't know why. She just wanted to go somewhere new, somewhere far. 2 weeks later, she was here, in a small rented apartment in the old part of the city. The streets were narrow and full of charm. Colourful buildings, little balconies with flowers, people talking, laughing, singing fado music at night. Every morning she went to a tiny cafe called Café Azul. The waiter, an old man named Marco, always smiled at her. "Bom dia, señorita," he said with a thick accent. "Your usual?" "Yes, please," she replied with a smile. "A coffee. Au pastel de nata." And her notebook. Emily had a new habit. Every morning she wrote a letter to her future self. She didn't write about big things, just small thoughts, hopes, feelings. Today she wrote, "Dear future Emily, today is sunny. I sat near the window and watched a little boy play with a paper airplane. It made me smile. I wonder what you're doing now. Are you still in Lisbon? Or did you go home? Did you fall in love yet? Love, Emily." She closed the notebook and sipped her coffee. Just then, someone bumped into her table. "Oh, I'm sorry," a male voice said. Coffee splashed a little. Emily looked up. A tall man stood there holding a camera. He wore a grey shirt, dark jeans, and had messy brown hair. His eyes were a soft green. "It's okay," Emily said, smiling. He looked embarrassed. "I wasn't looking. I was taking pictures. The light is amazing this morning." "You're a photographer." "Well, kind of," he laughed. "I travel a lot. Take photos. Sometimes people buy them, sometimes not." Emily laughed. "That sounds exciting." "It's not bad. I'm Luca, by the way, from Italy." "Nice to meet you, Luca. I'm Emily, from Canada." He looked at the empty chair across from her. "May I?" he asked. She hesitated, then nodded. "Sure." Chapter 2. A Table for Two. Luca sat across from Emily, placing his camera on the table. He smiled warmly. His eyes were kind, and there was something calm about him. "So, Emily from Canada," he said. "Why Lisbon?" She stirred her coffee and thought for a second. "I needed a break," she said honestly. "Life back home was busy, but empty. I just wanted to breathe." He nodded slowly. "I understand. I'm always running away too." She tilted her head. "Running away from what?" He grinned. "From being too serious." Emily laughed. "Well, congratulations, you're doing a great job." Marco, the old waiter, returned to the table with a second coffee. Luca thanked him in Portuguese. Emily raised an eyebrow. "You speak Portuguese?" "Just a little," he said. "Enough to survive. I've been here before." "So you're not new?" "Number Lisbon is one of my favourite places. I come back every year." He took a sip and added, "This cafe, it's one of my favourite spots." Emily smiled. "It's my spot now too." They looked at each other for a moment. Then Emily asked, "So, what kind of pictures do you take?" "Mostly street life, people, moments, light, colours. Sometimes I take photos of cafes like this one. The little details." He took out his camera and showed her a photo. a woman hanging clothes from a balcony with bright red flowers around her. "It's beautiful," Emily said. "It feels real. That's what I want. Real." She looked at her notebook. "You capture stories with your camera," she said. "I try to do the same with words." "You're a writer?" "Not exactly. I write letters to myself for later." He looked surprised. "That's interesting." "Why?" "I don't know. It helps me understand my life, my feelings, and maybe one day I'll read them and remember who I was." Luca leaned back. "I like that." A silence fell between them. But it was a good silence, soft, like sunlight on a warm wall. Then Luca said, "Would you like to come with me this afternoon?" Emily blinked. "Where?" "There's a hill nearby. A great view of the city. I want to take some photos at sunset. You could bring your notebook." She hesitated again. Her old self would have said no, but something inside her whispered, "Say yes." She smiled. "Sure, why not?" Later, that day they walked through the cobbled streets of Lisbon. The sun was lower now and the city glowed gold and pink. Children played soccer in a small square. An old man played guitar on a bench. A woman sold handmade bracelets near a stone wall. Luca stopped often to take photos. Emily watched him work, how he noticed things others missed. A cat sleeping under a bike. A man reading alone. A painted door with chipped corners. At the top of the hill they reached a viewpoint, Miraduro da Senhora do Monte. The view was stunning. Red rooftops, the river, the bridge in the distance. Everything felt open and wide and peaceful. Emily sat on a bench and opened her notebook. Luca stood nearby, adjusting his camera. As the sun began to set, she wrote, "Dear future Emily, today I met someone new. His name is Luca. He's kind and funny, and his camera sees the world differently. I said yes to an adventure. I said yes to a walk, a sunset, a quiet moment. Maybe this is nothing, or maybe it's something. I'm glad I didn't stay home. Love, Emily." She closed her notebook and looked at Luca. He smiled at her, and for the first time in a long time, she felt seen. Chapter 3. Unexpected Rain. The next morning, Emily sat by the cafe window again, notebook in hand. She couldn't stop smiling. Something about the day before had stayed with her, the walk, the sunset, the way Luca looked at the city and sometimes at her. Marco came by with her coffee. "Bom dia, señorita," he said cheerfully. "You look happy today." Emily laughed. "Maybe I am." She took a bite of her pastry and opened her notebook. Before she could write anything, she heard a voice. "Is this seat taken?" She looked up. Luca stood there again, his camera around his neck and a tiny croissant in one hand. "You again," Emily said playfully. He grinned. "I figured I'd find you here. Mind if I join?" "Of course not." He sat down and looked out the window. The sky was grey. A few drops of rain started to hit the glass. "I was going to take pictures near the river today," he said. "But maybe the rain has other plans." Emily leaned forward. "Maybe it's a day for indoor adventures." "Indoor adventures?" "You know, museums, bookstores, galleries, cozy places." Luca looked thoughtful. "There is a bookstore I like. It has a cat, and it smells like old paper and coffee." Emily's eyes lit up. "Let's go." The bookstore. They walked under one umbrella through the wet streets. The rain wasn't heavy, just soft, steady, and a little romantic. When they reached the bookstore, it was like stepping into another world. Tall wooden shelves, soft yellow lights, the smell of books and rain. And yes, there was a cat. A fat orange one, sleeping on a stack of poetry books. Luca wandered through the photo books section. Emily browsed the travel journals. She found a book with letters written by travellers from 100 years ago. She smiled. "I used to think I was born in the wrong time," she said softly. Luca turned. "Why?" "I love letters. Real letters. On paper. With ink. I love how slow they are. How personal." He walked toward her and said, "Maybe the world needs more slow things." They sat in a quiet corner and flipped through books together. Luca found an old photography book. The photos were black and white, but full of feeling. "Photos like these," he said, "they don't need colour. They speak anyway." Emily nodded. "Like silence between two people. Sometimes it says more than words." They looked at each other. No one spoke for a moment. Then the bookstore cat jumped onto Luca's lap, breaking the moment with a soft meow. Emily laughed. "Well, someone likes you. I guess I'm approved." That evening, the rain finally stopped. The streets sparkled with puddles and city lights. They walked slowly back toward Emily's apartment. "Thank you for today," she said. "No," he replied. "Thank you for coming with me." They reached her door. She turned to him. "Are you always this kind with strangers?" Luca looked into her eyes. "You're not a stranger anymore." A soft silence. Then Emily said, "Good night, Luca." "Good night, Emily." He turned and walked away. She watched him for a moment before going inside. That night, in bed, Emily opened her notebook again. "Dear future Emily, it rained today. I walked under an umbrella with someone who feels like a question I want to keep answering. We talked about slow things, quiet things. I think I needed this day more than I knew. I hope I don't forget the way his voice sounded in that bookstore." "Love, Emily." She closed her eyes and smiled. Maybe Lisbon had more surprises for her. Chapter 4. Something More. The next few days passed like pages in a quiet book. Emily and Luca kept meeting, sometimes in the cafe, sometimes for long walks, sometimes just sitting on a bench with coffee and silence. They talked about small things. Favourite foods, childhood memories, dreams that never happened, and dreams that still might. Emily started to laugh more. She didn't check her phone so often. She felt present, real, like she was waking up after a long sleep. One afternoon at the market, Luca invited Emily to visit a local market. "It's loud," he warned, "and messy, but you'll love it." He was right. Vendors shouted in Portuguese. The air was filled with the smell of grilled sardines, fresh herbs and warm bread. Old ladies argued over fruit prices. Children chased each other between stalls. Emily's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "This is amazing!" Luca snapped photos while Emily explored. At one stall, a woman sold handmade earrings. Emily tried on a pair shaped like little blue tiles, azulejos. Luca looked at her and smiled. "They suit you." She blushed. "Really?" He nodded. "They match your notebook." She bought them. Later, as they sat on the edge of a fountain sharing fresh strawberries, Luca turned serious. "Do you ever think about going back?" he asked. Emily looked down. "Sometimes, but when I do, I feel heavy, like I'm leaving something behind before it even begins." He nodded. "I understand." She looked at him. "What about you? Don't you ever want to stay in one place?" He smiled sadly. "I try, but I'm always afraid it'll become boring. Or I will." Emily leaned back. "I don't think you could ever be boring." Luca laughed. "Then maybe I'm in trouble." That night. It was almost midnight. Emily couldn't sleep. The city outside her window was still alive. Music in the distance, laughter from a nearby street, the quiet hum of Lisbon. She sat on her bed with her notebook. Dear future Emily, he bought me strawberries today, took me to the market, said the earrings matched my notebook. He listens, really listens, but he's like the wind, soft, moving, hard to catch. I'm afraid I'll fall for someone who won't stay, but I already am. Love, Emily. She looked at her words, then closed the notebook. Tomorrow, she decided, she needed to ask him something real. The next day, they met at Café Azul again. Emily was quiet. Luca noticed, "Everything okay?" She looked into his eyes. "I need to ask you something." He sat up straighter. "Okay. If you had the chance to stop moving, to stay in one place with someone, would you take it?" He didn't answer right away. He looked at his hands, then at her. "I've never stayed," he said quietly. "But lately I've started to wonder what it would feel like to choose someone instead of somewhere." Emily's heart beat faster. She reached into her bag and pulled out her notebook. She slid it across the table. He looked confused. "What's this?" "Read the last page." Luca opened it slowly. He read the letter, the one she wrote the night before. When he finished, he looked at her. "You're falling for me," he said gently. Emily nodded. "I think so." A pause. "Then, maybe," Luca whispered, "it's time I stop running." Chapter 5. A Step Closer, a Step Away. Emily and Luca were spending more time together than ever before. Each morning started at Café Azul. Then they would wander the city, discovering quiet streets, new smells, and hidden corners. In the evenings, they sat by the river, listening to the sound of the water and the distant music from the streets. Sometimes they talked for hours, sometimes they said nothing. It all felt natural, easy, like they had known each other for years. A rainy afternoon. One day it rained again. Emily and Luca stayed inside her apartment. The windows were foggy. The smell of mint tea filled the small space. Luca was sitting at the floor, framing a photo he had printed. It was a picture of Emily, smiling at the cafe. She looked at it. "Do I really look like that?" she asked. He smiled. "Yes, but to also... No." "What do you mean?" He looked up. "The photo shows just one moment. But you're 1,000 moments." Emily smiled softly. The words touched her heart, but they also made her nervous. Luca's words were always beautiful, but never certain, like clouds that moved too fast. That night, after Luca left, Emily sat on her bed with her notebook. "Dear future Emily, he sees me, not just my face, not just my words. He sees the quiet parts, the hidden pieces, but he's like the wind, gentle, moving, hard to hold. I'm afraid I'm falling for someone who won't stay, but I already am. Love, Emily." The message. The next morning, Emily received a message from Luca. "Can we talk tonight? I need to tell you something." Her heart dropped. She knew something was coming, she just didn't know what. They met at their usual place, the hilltop with the city view. It was the same place where they had watched the sunset together the first time. The air was cool, the sky was grey. Emily waited. Luca took a deep breath. "I have a new photo project in Morocco. It's for 3 weeks. It starts this weekend." Emily looked at him quiet. "So, you're leaving?" He nodded. "It's a great opportunity. I've wanted this for a long time. But now, I don't know." "What about me?" she asked gently. Luca looked down. "That's the hard part. I don't want to lose you, but I don't know how to choose both. Freedom and love." Emily felt tears behind her eyes, but she stayed calm. "Maybe," she said softly, "it's time you learn how." That night, back in her room, Emily opened her notebook. "Dear future Emily, he's leaving. Not forever. but it still hurts. I won't ask him to stay. I want to, but I won't. If he loves me, he'll come back. If he doesn't, I'll still have Lisbon. I'll still have these days, but I hope he comes back. Love, Emily. She closed the notebook and stared out the window. Lisbon was quiet, but her heart was full of noise. Chapter 6. Coming Home. 3 weeks felt like a long time. Emily missed Luca every day. She walked the streets alone, wrote in her notebook, and watched the sunsets they once shared. Sometimes she read his messages again and again. Sometimes she stared at the door, hoping he would walk in. Luca's return one. Rainy evening, just as the sun was setting, Emily was sitting at Café Azul. Her heart jumped when she saw Luca standing outside, dripping wet, but smiling. He walked inside slowly. "I'm back," he said quietly. Emily smiled so big she felt her heart almost burst. "Welcome home," she whispered. They sat together, talking about Morocco, about dreams, about fears. Luca took her hand. "I was afraid to come back, afraid you would be different, afraid I would be different." Emily squeezed his hand. "We've both changed, but that's okay. We can grow together." He smiled. "I want to stop running. I want to stay with you." Emily looked into his eyes. "I want that too. Letters for the future." That night, Emily wrote in her notebook one last time. "Dear future Emily, love is perfect. It is hard and scary and beautiful. I waited. I hoped. He came back. We don't know what the future holds, but we'll face it together. Lisbon is our story now, and this notebook is just the beginning. Love, Emily." The city lights of Lisbon shone softly outside her window, and for the first time in a long time, Emily felt truly at home. The end. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe to Here to Speak for more simple English stories. Don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss a new episode. See you next time. Keep practicing and keep shining.